Frank Azurri, he's never worried, he's...
You know why we call it San Pedro? Because this is the home of the LA Harbor, and people from all over the world did and still do live and work here. Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, Croatian, Japanese, Mexican, black, white, Asian, you name it. Everyone was here, and they still are. People spoke many different languages, but everyone started calling it San Pedro, so that no matter what language you spoke, when you heard San Pedro, you knew you were going home. It became part of what makes this neighborhood so wonderful.
Frank!
What?
Well, San Pedro's great, but it hasn't always been roses. San Pedro started out as a company town. All this land was company owned, and the canneries on it, and the homes on it. I mean, the fishermen, they'd be gone for weeks at a time while their families worked the canneries and lived in tiny dorms. I mean, a thriving culture did develop, but it was all under extreme exploitation, Frank.
Well, fortunately, we've righted this wrong. Drew and I are here today at the Japanese Fishing Village Memorial. See, many years ago, FDR noticed how hard the Japanese fishermen were working, so he set up internship camps so that they could do internships and gain career experience. Internships exist to this day, where people have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do labor for free.
No, Frank, wow. Frank, that's so much wrong. I mean, he didn't send them to internships. He sent them to internment camps.
What?
Yeah. You see, February 25th, 1942, 3,000 Japanese Americans were forced out of their homes and into internment camps. Then the neighborhoods here were all destroyed because of World War II and Pearl Harbor and racism. You see, it's a terrible, terrible part of San Pedro's history.
Oh, man. My poem's really not going to work out now.
Oh, you wrote a poem?
Yeah. Hear ye, FDR said it. All in this land deserve coarse credit.
I think you're gonna have to nix that one, buddy.
Top 10% gets it all. Gets it all. Gets it all.
It's your fault.
All right. That was, so even though it's shortly after St. Patrick's Day, Drew and I are both being festive in the green.
That's right.
Here. We're still, yeah, I have the green shirt on, and yeah, we're just doing it to it. So that was episode 5 of Frank Azurri. Frank goes to the Japanese Fishing Village Memorial and learns a little bit more about it. It was not what he thought. Again. Crazy how that keeps happening.
Although we got to hear a poem this time, which was, we get here Frank's poet laureate skills coming out here.
He did bust out a poem, albeit unfortunately a poem that he has to nix. But when you're a poet laureate, man, you got to just crank them out by the dozen, really. So
right.
The wind really made this one a doozy. Oh boy. The wind, guys. So where we filmed it is exactly where the memorial is. We were on site, and it is super, super windy. And as I'm sure most of you are already aware, one of the rules of Frank Azurri is it is a vertical film. So we make it on a phone. And the only technology we use to help us out are stands and then some external mics for a phone and stuff like that. So sometimes when it's really windy, we have to figure some things out because that external mic is very sensitive to wind. And it'll just be clipped and there's really nothing you can do about it with technology like this. So yeah, I guess it keeps it interesting.
Yeah. Just the field report from Frank's phone.
The field report from Frank's phone. I mean, we ended up figuring it out, but yeah, there's definitely a little bit of the elements, but that just makes it for I mean, we are on the ground and that it's just part of the series, but yeah, we this was the hardest element we've had to deal with.
Right.
so far, I would say, right? Because this is by
Right.
far. I mean, even when we were doing the Joe Hill episode, I mean, there were people who were going to their cars and stuff like that, and occasionally we'd have to stop a take because someone would like click their car or whatever.
Right.
But that wasn't. Yeah, this was like really windy. Like we had just a bunch of stuff. We were like, yeah, we got to nix all this and try again.
Right. It was the reprise of the wind because it happened on, I think, the first episode too, right? And we had to kind of like nix a bunch of stuff. We went right by the beach, remember? And we were like, okay, like we're gonna have to do this in a different spot.
Yeah.
But the wind struck again, at the Japanese fishing village.
When you're close to water, that's when it gets hard.
Yeah.
Closer to water, that's when it gets hard. Because yeah, that's right. For episode 1, we filmed a bunch of stuff like right on the coast. And it was just so clippy, and we're like, man, there's nothing we can do. And so we moved a little further inland to film the scene about Drew, when Drew explains that they were jellyfish.
Yes. The old the condoms, right? The beach
The
condoms.
water condoms.
The water condoms.
The original Frank theory that those were water condoms that people were using. What a special mind he has.
Oh yes. I can't wait to see it unfold further.
Right. So we're almost through season 1, folks. We're gonna have 3 more episodes for season 1, and the end is gonna be. I don't want to spoil anything, but the end's kind of gonna be a 2-parter. And then that's gonna kind of put a button on season 1. We know where we're going for the rest of the season. Man, it's kind of crazy that we're almost through we should really get this up on IMDb.
Right.
We still haven't done that. We got to do it. But yeah, we still haven't done that.
Such a process, man. Right? IMDb.
It's
IMDb
such a headache.
Complainers Club here.
Yeah.
And are you pro, Ron? Because then I was messing around on it to look at Left at Wall, and I was like, oh, if I want to have a picture of myself, I've got to pay like a monthly fee, right, or whatever it is. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do that right now.
Yeah, I don't have IMDb Pro. I've been told it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, sometimes I think I should just suck it up and get it. Other times, like when people have it, they're like, yeah, it doesn't really do much. It just makes like uploading stuff slightly less of a headache, but still a headache.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like as long as the listing's there, you're fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the Left at Wall one was definitely a process, but it's up now. I mean, it's definitely incomplete. It's imperfect, but I mean, I'm just gonna tell people, hey, can you just add yourself? Like,
right,
please. Right. Like I'm doing my best. I'm not trying to I want to include everyone, and I'm doing my best, but man, it's such a process. So IMDb, big process, Status Coup, folks. Big process that IMDb. And Frank is Frank learned something new today. Right. I was thinking about we should dive deeper with it and have Frank ask questions about like FDR.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, that we would get in the weeds so fast with something like that.
Yeah.
If like
what would he
Frank
ask?
started, well, like what, like I was just thinking, like, what if he said, like, well, I thought he was the best president we've ever had, and it's like, well, I would say comparatively speaking, he is, but there is this awful thing that he did, like he still did that, and it was very, very terrible.
Right.
But all of our presidents have done some very terrible things.
Right.
So
comes with the job, I suppose, of president of us, U.S.
Well, and then you got to ask, is that something Frank might know already?
I know, right.
Like would he? I mean, those are always the questions we have to answer. Where it's just like, well, would this be something he would miss, or would this be something he would know?
Right.
Like I have a feeling when it comes to like presidents and stuff, he might already be hip to something like that.
Right.
Like that might be why he thought like he knows that FDR did do some pretty amazing things domestically. I mean, the New Deal, like he knows that. So he wouldn't think that FDR could also do something so terrible and evil. So he just assumed that they were internship camps.
Right. He was reading it. He kind of glossed over it because he was just so hopeful that FDR was so good. Right.
And he thought of that banger poem.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, oh, perfect. I got just the poem for this. He wanted to hold on to that.
Right.
but unfortunately, the world had other plans. And it is crazy that, I mean, and by the way, another interesting thing that happened to us when we were making this was we ran into somebody who
Another
was,
character.
yeah, another guy who was, it was just kind of showing the scene to, I'm assuming they were people who were visiting,
Yeah,
but
it
he
looked like it.
wanted, yeah, it looked
They were
like they
taking
were visiting.
pictures and yeah.
Yeah, very tourist-esque. And,
Right
you
when we
know,
started filming, so I felt like, oh, I felt a little bit bad, like, you know, like we're just two guys like filming this short, and these people are coming like to look at a piece of, maybe they're like family heritage or something. I'm like, oh no, like I hope we're
yeah,
not like in the way, but we're also like trying to not have like the phone fall over in the wind. There's a lot of
that's another thing.
chaos.
Yeah. The stand was a little flimsy in the wind, but we
I
got to
got a
meet.
history lesson, like
We did. Well, yeah, because that guy who lives locally, he started telling us a bunch of stuff about just that whole area that we did not know, that was not on the plaques. And he even pointed out, you know, the official spot of the Sunkissed factory. Sunkissed, they do tuna, right? They do tuna
I
and
think so.
albacore and stuff.
Yeah, the
Yeah. So
canneries,
yeah, so
right?
they were like one of the canneries. So in the episode, we do show you close-ups of those canneries. That's what those big white boulder looking things are. So
Right. And we learned about the prison too, which apparently was there, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at the same time as the village. Like there was a prison there. So they were like living, you know, in between like these canneries, their company homes, and like this famous prison, which was still there. And I thought we had some glimmers of some potential Frank episodes at our local prison here in Pedro.
yeah. Well, I just love how this episode really catches like just sort of the complexities of a place, of the history of any given place.
Yeah.
Whereas like there was a very special thing that people from all over the world could come, and they had good jobs on the harbor. Like they were well paying jobs. But the other side of that was, man, you were out for a long freaking time. And yeah, you got paid in most cases relatively well, but that's because you were making money hand over fist for somebody else. You
Right.
know, so when you factor in like how much you were bringing in versus how much you were getting, that changes the picture a little bit. And then you know, you think about the family working in the canneries and stuff. There was, you know, basically capitalism went ahead and ruined something that could have just been a lot better for everybody.
Right. And then, like in a fit of racist bigotry, it's like, well, let's just burn it all down and kick them out, right? Like,
Yeah.
and there was like temples, there were like family grocery stores that had been there for like several generations, I think, right? Like it was a thriving little culture, like we talk about in the episode, that
They
was going on there.
destroyed all of it. They destroyed the entire neighborhood, and I mean, it really is such a stain, not just on San Pedro's history, but on our nation's history. I mean, stuff like that didn't just happen in San Pedro, but that is very much a stain of the United States, one that is not talked about. And I think even here locally, there's going to be a lot of people that don't know all that history. I mean, there's probably people that were similar to Frank, not in the sense that they thought there were internship camps, but in the sense that they thought, oh yeah, this was a big Japanese neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to it? Oh, it's just
Right.
not there anymore. Yeah, they don't always tell you the part about what happened to it.
Right. Right.
So there you go, folks. We did. Anything else about the making of this that folks should know before we sign off here and go chase a pot of gold, the two of us?
Oh, right. Like, well, that gold's getting, you know, we don't want anyone else to get it. We might have to go quick. I'm trying.
No. If we don't get it, we're gonna have to call an 800 number to get it later.
Yeah.
So, you know, and hopefully we have a promo code or something.
No, I think we covered it was a windy, chaotic, we got a history lesson. That was cool. It was
Really
a fun
cool.
it was a fun Frank filming.
I hope that guy checked it out too. We gave him
Yeah.
a card, and we said it's just sort of funny. He's like, "So what are you guys doing?" It was like, "Oh, we make this series called Frank Azurri," and he goes, "Oh, and is it going to be about this?" And I was like, "Yeah, our next episode is going to be about the fishing village here.
Yeah, he even
It's
dropped
okay.
like 2 or 3 other. Oh, you guys need to go here. You guys need to go here. Like,
Yeah.
check out all this hidden history and like these different, somewhat local SoCal places. And we're like, okay.
He dropped some episode ideas. Yeah. We may, well, I hope he checks it out. I don't know if I don't think we ever got each other's names, but yeah, hopefully, stranger, if you're out there,
Yes.
yeah, drop us an email and hope you enjoyed the episode. And I hope everyone else enjoyed the episode too. Thanks for checking it out. Please, if you enjoyed it, share it. It's still a new thing. Status Coup has never done anything like this before. It's not what Status Coup is typically known for. It's different. But the right does this all the time, folks. So I think it's kind of cool that we push back a little bit and we have our own thing. I think that's important.
Right. Fighting Ben Shapiro's media company with our one little vertical film at a time,
Yes. One vertical film at a time. Drew, where can everyone go to check out all your stuff?
If you go to Twitter at Andrew Saxena, you'll find the link tree for all my music, my podcasts, and short films.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And folks, you guys know where to find me. RonPlacone.com, Twitter, Ron Placone, YouTube, Ron Placone. You can check out the 1000 podcast, 1000 with Ron Placone, wherever you get your podcasts. Some upcoming screenings, April 14th, Los Angeles, California. Drew will be there as well. Show, screening, and Q&A. June 8th, Idlewild, California. Show, screening, and Q&A. Drew will also be there. You're going to be at all my next upcoming dates, man. You're going to be there. That's exciting.
It's going to be fun. In the mountains, in the city.
Yeah.
Right? We're getting all terrains.
Yeah. So Southern California. Get tickets now for Los Angeles and Idlewild. Can't wait to see you there. And yeah, looking forward to episode 6. That'll be coming up in, I believe, April 10th. But let me just confirm that date here before we sign out. But I believe the next one will be, the next one will be on April 10th. So April 10th, episode 6 of Frank Azurri. And we'll see you then. We'll see you before then. But, the next Frank, we'll see you then.
Right. Bye, guys.